May the Force be with you guys. Welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. For this episode, we're still covering Ahsoka. This is episode 7, now called Dreams and Madness. This is a wonderful episode. Common Filoni W. Akram, let's get your thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, what a wonderful episode, as was the last one. They keep coming out with these bangers and people are getting reunited, and we do get an introduction, or I should say reintroduction, of a popular character that's a staple to Star Wars. I could not believe my eyes. Sorry, Joe, that's a lot of money. That's what the actor said. Without further ado, let's get into the nitty gritty of it.
It's so good. It's so glad to see that Filoni covers every corner of Star Wars, right? Bring legacy characters back, bring some from Clone Wars, Rebels, everything just meshes so well. So yeah, this episode intros with Hera Syndulla's trial from the New Republic. Those guys are really red pill. I don't know what's their problem, but they have no idea how to run government. But yeah, we got to see a cool cameo from C-3PO. Of course, yes. Anthony Daniels. I hope he's still alive for the next couple of years, because it's always wonderful to see our favorite droid, right? Yeah, that was a really nice introduction. So, you know, he was basically representing Leia, because we couldn't get Leia, of course. So she basically like vouched for Hera. And so like, yeah, she's working for me. It's fine. I'll vouch for her.
Yeah, how interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that scene?
No, that was really interesting, because when I saw C-3PO, I was like, oh my goodness. And he was just basically the, I guess, liaison or like whatever. And that really threw me off. And I was like, Leia, wow. So I guess more and more people are aware of this. I wonder if Luke is somehow aware of this, especially with Ahsoka and stuff like that. I know
that a fucking Cancun or some shit, wherever the fuck he's in.
Yeah, I know. He's just going to Home Depot every time in that planet. I know that he's with R2-D2 at the moment, right? So that's why R2-D2 didn't show up. It's interesting to see Chopper and C-3PO in the same room. I wish they kind of walked with each other and like we're talking to each other or something like that. But nevertheless, it is a great sight to see C-3PO here. It just shows you how big this show actually is in a sense of scale, with the different characters they keep introducing and a lot of callbacks. So it was wonderful to see. I was actually shocked at Anthony Daniels. I don't know if that's actually just a voice actor and then there's like a body double. I'm not too sure. If he actually made a return.
I'm sure. He's usually the one in the suit, but he's getting older now, so maybe it was like a stunt double, but for sure that was his voice.
The new movies, they have a stunt double, so he did a lot of ADR, so that's why I was wondering, but maybe that's not even his real voice too. That's what I'm wondering, because he said he's retiring, so I don't know. That's why I said
true AI.
Yeah, well, I think they used
just
AI.
A robot they made for the show or something.
Well, they used AI actually for Darth Vader, right? I think they used it for James Earl Jones's voice in one of the projects or whatever. So that's what I was saying. If it's Anthony Daniel, he's like, I'm sorry, Joe, that's a lot of money. That's what it is.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So moving on, of course, we see Ahsoka, and she's training with the Anakin holograms. Cool. It looks so amazing. I'm just so glad that we're seeing more and more of Anakin live action, because he looks so good as a live action. You know, well, obviously he's live action, but the Clone Wars adaptation of that live action looks really good. I love the costuming, and I love that little recording that she kept. Was that from a hologram or what is it called?
Yeah, he sent her. Well, it's just like a data disk, I guess, and then dick whatever, it came as a hologram. But yeah, he sent her. he sent her like a couple of those. There's a set. She has a box set, which I think is really sweet and kind of bittersweet in a way. And that's how she gets some training and stuff. It looks like she does miss Anakin, so that's her little bit of nostalgia. And I thought it was a really bittersweet moment as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I always love the little bonding moments between Ahsoka and Anakin. But speaking of bonding moments, we also get Sabine and Ezra. They're finally back together again after so long, and it was so cute to see them together. I don't know if they're like trying to force them to be a couple or something, or maybe she has like feelings for him or something, because it seemed like that in the first episode. But they could just be just friends that haven't seen each other a long time.
Like
right?
I think they consider themselves like brother and sister.
Brother and sister. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really sweet. I love those little vehicle things. Those are really, really interesting design. They're tanks. Yeah, the Ninja Turtles.
I think they're called the Naughty, or the Naughty. Those little turtle people. Because I saw in the little captions it said the Naughty people.
Oh, interesting.
Really
cool. Yeah. Maybe that's like the precursor to the Nucci family from The Punisher or something.
You're right.
He's just there. You're like,
Hey, it's Disney. It all fits.
Exactly. No, that was cool. And then also we do also get a scene which I love, the trying to dodge the bones and stuff like that. They're actually going after Ahsoka. All the space wolves, they just dipped. I'm glad none of them died.
They were like the
Obi-Wan guy
from Avatar.
They were like smoking a cigarette or whatever.
Right. They said, oh shit, we out.
That was a thrilling scene. Oh my goodness. There were so many detonators there, like those bombs. Holy cow. There were so many of those.
That reminded me of that one episode of Clone Wars where Anakin and Obi-Wan were in that laser minefield on Aigo, and they were trying to dodge like all these blasters and shit. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I love how I'm surprised Thrawn had that in his arsenal. And Thrawn too in this episode was so great to see that he hasn't changed in all these years, right? He's still that kind of like tactician, right? Know thy enemy kind of sure. General, right? What do you think of him in this episode? No,
he was great. I mean, last episode he was great too, but this one at least you get to see his true skill at just managing the battlefield. And I loved how he broke everything down to Morgan, and he was like, well, this is this is that, this is what we're going to do. So he always has the upper hand somehow. So that was such a great scene. And then also they used basically the Force against, he's pulling from every resource. So he's pulling from the Night Sisters, right?
I like that. I like that he's like, unlike the other Imperials, like he's not afraid to use magic as a weapon, right? Because for him, it's like a resource, like you said. So it's like, why not use fire, right? If you're fighting Jedi, you gotta have to have the upper hand, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly, and that's how he located her, and she had to come out of hiding, and basically in that moment anyway, Shin Hati was tracking these people down, Ezra and Sabine, exactly. And I found the conversation between Baylan and Shin Hati really interesting, because at first it seems like more Shin Hati is more ambitious and Baylan is just waiting, like he has the patience, and that's what he told her. He said, like, have patience, because if you don't, you'll lose. And then later on, Ahsoka joins the fight, and then we're met by this great battle sequence, and I'm sure you'll go more into that with like Ezra and stuff like that. But we're met with this, and it's interesting the confrontation that Baylan and Ahsoka had, and afterwards, it's like, I wonder if he's gonna turncoat, actually, not Shin Hati. I wonder if it's going to be him.
Yeah, I think Star Wars always has a tradition. I know they're not Sith, but they're like dark side users. So they always make it like the apprentice is kind of like the impulsive one or the ambitious one, right? And then the master or the Dark Lord, whatever, is usually like the more reserved one. I don't know. I keep trying to figure out what Baylan's endgame is. Like, he obviously doesn't care for Thrawn or the new Empire, whatever it is. But he knows Shin wants more out of this, so perhaps he's like, well, do what's best for you, right? You're pretty much free to do whatever you want now, because you don't have to worry about the Jedi or the Empire now, right? You can forge a new path for yourself, right? And I think that's kind of what all like masters kind of have to leave with their with their students, is like, I can only give you so much, but from here on out, you have to kind of forge your own way, perhaps. But I keep wondering, like, what's his end game? Like, does he want to stay in this new galaxy and just start fresh? Or I don't know.
I don't think it's about the galaxy. I think it's just about the resources that he's trying to claim in order to gain such power. But I think, and because he told her, like, patience is key. Go do your thing, right? You have to do this. Go. And then he takes on the big boss. But after he takes on the big boss, it looks like he realized something, that perhaps I'm looking the actual wrong way. So in a way, it kind of seems like he is. Well, they said that they're basically mercenaries. So I find them to be really interesting. I hope that they could use their characters more. They're basically in the morally gray, which I always find interesting in Star Wars because everything is kind of sometimes cut and dry if you look at the grand scheme of things, and it's like black or white, but they're morally gray. And I find that super interesting. And that's why I think like maybe he might turncoat somehow or do something in a way to kind of deceive Thrawn and Morgan, and in order to give Ahsoka the win. So that's why like I was like that little moment kind of said a lot, in those few seconds. But without further ado, explain to us like what did you think of the fight with Ezra and Sabine going against everybody else? That was pretty cool.
Well, I love that in the show they handle multiple combat scenarios like really good, like equal. Like we had Balin and Ahsoka fighting, and then we had Ezra and Sabine fighting Shin Hati. I like that they go back and forth, and they do it really well. And I love that Ezra has matured so much that he doesn't even need a lightsaber or a weapon now. He could trust the Force, right? And then just like, so like, I don't need a lightsaber. I could handle this, right? I feel like in that moment I was like, man, what if like Kanan saw him in that moment? I feel like he'd be like so proud of him. And Sabine kind of like held her own, against the Empire and shit. I thought that was really cool. It's like she's starting to kind of grow, right? And then when Ahsoka jumped in, that was really cool seeing them like reunite, right? I felt like we're like watching like another episode of Rebels, right? They're all, and it's funny because they're all fighting against stormtroopers. I wonder if those stormtroopers, because I keep hearing theories that they're actually like maybe zombies, that the Night Sisters like kind of like reincarnated. I think that's such a weird way of thinking about it. But yeah, that whole fight sequence, and even the the little turtle people, the Nati, I thought that was so funny. They're like they actually like they're pretty. Even though they don't have weapons, it's just funny like seeing them in their shells, right?
Yeah. The stormtrooper thing, I don't know. That's kind of a stretch because there's no information on that at the moment. Just watching Ahsoka on its own. So like, I mean, it'll be pretty interesting. It could happen. I think that would be cool. I thought that at least one of their helmets will come off or something to confirm that. So you never know. And then I love, Ezra kind of reminds me of a Mortal Kombat character. The way how he's like fighting and like pushing people with the Force or whatever.
He's gonna be an MK1 as a DLC character.
Liu Kang's new timeline. He fought pretty. I mean, I think to be honest with you, that the fighting sequence with him could have been a little bit better. It was a little bit too like sketchy, but I thought he was gonna kind of be like Donnie Yen or so. That's his name, right? Donnie Yen or whatever. I thought he was gonna kind of be like that. But I don't expect Ezra to be practicing wushu and stuff like that on that planet. Right. So maybe sambo or jiu-jitsu or something.
The next episode, the Expendables like recruit.
The Expendables come down with the airplane. No, Sabine, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of her fighting sequences, and I think that just cemented my opinion about that. I never liked how she fought because it's always like the same thing, shooting, kind of sketchy, gets hit, but you have like a lightsaber right there. Why don't you pull it out earlier? So she's whatever. Ahsoka is like, I feel like Tedros, like, oh yeah, you're a treat or something. Whatever she's fighting. I love. Well,
she used 2 lightsabers in this episode too.
Yeah, so I know that was cool. And she did like this thing. It's just like really samurai or Japan esque. There you go. Exactly. So that was pretty cool. But and then that episode I actually ended with just Thrawn saying, one thing Ahsoka doesn't have is time. I don't know what they were trying to load. I don't know what what those are. What are those capsules?
Move my mom's storage. The ship.
Yeah, Dylan's really busy with that lately.
Yeah. So, that's one thing I think Thrawn is good at. He manages to force a situation onto his opponents, right? And because like he always has like a bigger end game, and I think that's one thing that Ahsoka and the Rebels kind of like don't see. Like they go for like the small victories, but Thrawn is for the end game. So I think that's really interesting. So I wonder what the finale is. The next episode is the finale, right?
Yeah,
it's gone by so fast. I feel like Ezra, like I just want to go home.
Yeah, I know. But what is in those capsules though?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Okay. Unless it's like a confirmation about the stormtrooper theory, like maybe they're like undead.
He unleashes.
I wonder are the witches gonna go with them too? Because they seem like they're powerful allies.
I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. And it just ended abruptly too. So it's like, I kind of wished, again, it was cool that he talked about like, yeah, okay. They, in a way, she's like helping us because she's distracted.
I don't even know why he needs Morgan at this point. She's just like
she's just talking shit.
She's like a waiter at this point.
She's just talking shit. She's just there like, yeah, you sure, bro? And you're like, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's it. That's right. That's the conversations between these two. Well, she serves as a good, I think she's pivotal in a way because he has to have a dialogue with somebody. And I love when he's explaining. So the people who's not used to Rebels, at least they can see how good this guy is. She's the fucking intern at this point getting coffee for Thrawn at Starbucks. Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, great episode overall. How would you rate it and what are your predictions?
Yeah, it was a wonderful episode. I enjoyed it a lot. I would definitely rate it a 7 out of 10. How about you?
I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing more fight sequences. Also, I love seeing like the stormtrooper gunships. I thought those were really cool.
Yeah, they bring them back.
So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. The next episode is the finale. I can't wait to see how this ends because this has been a really great show. And it's a great treat for Star Wars fans. But guys, that is our review for episode 7. If you liked this review, let us know. Let us know what you thought of the episode and what you'd like to see for the finale. But thank you guys so much. Until then, may the Force be with you.
Endure and survive. May the Force be with you guys. See you.
See you guys.